Afternoon, everyone. Before we begin, today marks the 18th anniversary of the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001. In remembrance of the nearly 3,000 Americans who lost their lives on that day, would you please join me in a moment of silence? Thank you. Today, we're here to take action on one of the most devastating issues facing Arizonans, the tragedy of suicide. Suicide is the 8th leading cause of death in Arizona. We know that it plagues people from all walks of life, and that's why our state is taking action on several fronts. This year, Arizona invested $1 million into the Be Connected program to get our veterans the help that they need. I want to thank Arizona's Director of the Department of Veteran Services, Wanda Wright, for her efforts on that front. Thank you very much, Director Wright. On another front, Director of the Arizona Department of Health Services, Dr. Kara Christ, is leading the charge to develop recommendations for a suicide prevention action plan for our state. Thank you, Director Christ. Tragically, you know that the suicide rate among Arizona's youth continues to rise. That's why we provided $10 million last year to expand access behavioral health services on campus. In the last quarter of the spring semester alone, Arizona provided services to approximately 6,000 students with this funding, and those services are going to expand. I'd like to thank Access Director Jamie Snyder for her leadership to help Arizona kids. And that brings us to our next step. Today we are here with families and friends who share the devastation of losing someone to suicide. It is their passion and resolve to have brought us here today to sign SB 1468, the Mitch Warnock Act. Mitch Warnock was a special kid. Mitch was talented and athletic. He was loving, and he was deeply loved. I just spent some time visiting with his parents, and we are honored to be joined by his dad, Tim, and his mom, Lori, and other brave souls who are determined to turn tragedy into triumph. To Tim and Lori and everyone who has lost a loved one, I want you to know that the hearts of every Arizonan grieves with you. And I want you to know that I am personally thankful for your perseverance and advocacy. We would not be here today without it. Because of you, under SB 1468, Arizona teachers and school employees will be trained to identify the warning signs of suicidal behavior. And with this new law, Arizona will have a new safety measure in place to make a meaningful difference in this fight. I want to say a sincere thank you to Senator Sean Bowie for standing up for Arizona's kids and sponsoring this legislation. I also want to thank the members of the state legislature who passed this bill with unanimous support. And I want to recognize our school superintendents who are on the front lines of this issue, and we are glad to be joined by many of them here today. But most of all, I want to say thank you to the families here today, and I want you to know that this bill is only the beginning. Arizona's work to care for our young people is never over, and with your help, I know that this bill and these actions will save lives. So with that, it's time to sign this bill. And with that, Senate Bill 1468, the Mitch Warnock Act, is the law of the land.